Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Olson. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Hello, hello. I'd like to welcome you all to the fourth dimension. Big book study, that is. I'm glad you guys are all here. I know I'm glad I'm here. I never feel more alive than when I'm sharing the miracle of God's recovery in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous that I found and discovered in a book called Alcoholics Anonymous. Let's share that book together tonight, shall we? We will begin, as we always do, with the set-aside prayer. It goes a little something like this. Sing along if you know the words. God, please help me to set aside everything I think I know about you, about me, about my fellow man, and about the 12 steps. And please allow me to gain a fresh new vision, perspective, and understanding of what you, what me, what my fellow man, and the 12 steps are all about. Amen. And as this is the fourth dimension big book study, I always like to read the two parts of our book that refer to the fourth dimension. So first of all, on page 8, Bill Wilson writes, I was soon to be catapulted into what I like to call the fourth dimension of existence. I was to know happiness, peace, and usefulness in a way of life that is incredibly more wonderful as time passes. And then on page 25, Bill Wilson writes that we have found much of heaven and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to be catapulted. We're going to be rocketed. And for the sake of the tradition and the custom of the fourth dimension big book study, everyone who will, please put one hand up like this. And everybody put another hand up like this. And everybody go, oh, yeah. We absolutely insist on enjoying life. We are not a glum lot. I hope that you all have fun tonight. It's okay to have fun in recovery. In fact, I've often described myself as a fundamental member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I believe if I'm not having fun, I am going to go damn mental. Fundamental, funny. All right. So tonight, guys, we are in a chapter that is very near and dear to my heart. Chapter 7 in our book, chapter Working with Others. This chapter, for anyone who doesn't know, you can take this chapter where on page 89 in our book, where it says chapter 7, Working with Others, and you can write at the top, step 12. Okay? If you didn't know, I will tell you. This chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. Okay? How do I know that? Well, go read the last line on page 88. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. That's how we know. See, I got to know how to read the book. When I came to AA, I thought I knew how to read. I didn't know how to read. My sponsor taught me how to read. Okay. And my problem is I kept trying to read the white stuff in the big book. It's very hard for me just to read the black stuff. Okay. And not to interpret. I had to start learning to read the book just exactly the way it's written. So this chapter is devoted entirely to step 12. And I can't think of really of a step for me that is more important. And you may feel differently about it. Your sponsor may feel differently about it. But to me, this step 12, more than any other, is the thing that has saved my life. Prayer and meditation are wonderful. Inventory is phenomenal. Making amends to people is key. Surrendering, conceding to myself, my innermost self, that I'm truly an alcoholic is fine. It's wonderful. It's a great part of our program, but nothing has done more for me and saved my life more than step 12. Okay. And why don't we let the book do the talking for us? So let's read the first paragraph. My man Brad is here. I saw him. There he is. Good to see you, Brad. Thank you so much. Please read the first paragraph in the chapter working with others, and then I'll talk a little bit about how much that paragraph means to me.
Sure. Thanks, Kevin. Hey, everybody. I'm Brad Soloto, recovered alcoholic. Chapter 7, Working with Others. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill.
Okay, and read the next part too, Brad, please.
Sure. Life will take on new meaning to watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you for reading that. And so anyone who doesn't know, any primary purpose group member will know that those two paragraphs are so important to us. That is actually the closing statement at primary purpose group. That's what we read, are those two paragraphs, okay? And because we love it, when we get to the part that says, is the bright spot of our lives, everyone in our group chants, is the bright spot of our lives, okay? But I just want to talk about the first line there. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. And I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely true in my life. Often in AA, we hear a lot, you gotta give it away to keep it, right? You got to give it away to keep it. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that line before. You got to give it away to keep it, okay? I don't think that's entirely true. I think we have to give it away if we want to get it at all. If I'm not giving it away, if I'm not involved in step 12, I have not activated the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, not at all. In fact, I have missed, I would argue, probably the most vital part of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? Look, the first 6 months that Bill Wilson is sober, he has his white light spiritual experience in the town's hospital. Ebby Thatcher comes and takes him through the steps. And immediately, the next thing that Bill Wilson does is try to carry this message to other people. Okay. Now, he was wildly unsuccessful at doing that. Okay. He carried the message to somewhere around 100 people before meeting Dr. Bob. He was not successful at carrying, the message and not successful at getting anyone sober anyway. But I don't know if you guys have heard this story before. Bill Wilson came home one day after 6 months of trying to get guys sober and trying to carry the message and trying to help someone. And at that time, there was no Alcoholics Anonymous. So Bill Wilson was dragging people into Oxford group meetings. And the Oxford group meetings were not gambling on having a bunch of alcoholics show up. So you can imagine there's, nice little old ladies going to have their little, tea meeting and talk about the Bible and all that stuff. And here comes Bill Wilson kicking the door open, holding some puking street drunk by the arm because they're going into this Oxford group meeting. Bill Wilson didn't have any real success at all. And after 6 months of this, Bill thinks, this is useless. This is a waste of time. I'm going to quit. I'm going to give this up. And he goes home to go tell his wife, Lois, this revelation that he's had that, Lois, I've done this for 6 months. None of these guys are getting sober. You're working really hard at the department store. I haven't. I'm just going to go back to work. I'm going to start earning money again. And that's it. I'm done. This has been a waste of time. And I'm very sorry that I put you through this. And Bill said, because none of these guys are staying sober. And Lois said something in that moment that changed the course of human history. Every one of us on this Zoom call is here because Lois Wilson said what she said in that moment. And what she said is, Bill, you're staying sober. Bill, you've stayed sober as a result of what you're doing. And that's all that matters to me. And Bill said, that's right, Lois. That's right. Very good. I was checking to see if you would catch that. That's excellent. Well done, Lois. Yeah, that's good. Okay. But what's the point of that story? What's the point of that story? The point is that regardless of what happened, not everybody got sober, whatnot, but it kept Bill Wilson sober. And at that time in his life, man, there was no AA meetings. There was no speaker meetings. There was no home group for Bill. There was no sponsors. There's no central office. None of that existed. Okay. Bill has a spiritual experience in the town's hospital as a result of doing the steps. Ebby takes him through the steps. Okay. And from there, he's hanging out at Oxford group meetings, trying to find this thin little connection to God. But the thing that really kept Bill Wilson sober more than anything else was working with others. Okay. And so this chapter is really written on Bill's experience, on Dr. Bob's experience, and the first 100 members of Alcoholics Anonymous, their experience of what worked really well in working with others and what maybe didn't work so well, and attitudes to have and maybe attitudes to kind of let go of with respect to working with newcomers. My friend Distance likes to refer to this chapter as the choose your own adventure of AA. And I don't know if any of you have ever read a choose your own adventure book, but when you read one, raise your hand if you've ever read a choose your own adventure book, right? At the end of them, you get, if this thing, go this way, if this thing, go that way, okay? And so we'll see the directions here. And I have, with help, I have over the years broken down the directions in this chapter directly into 20 specific directions, and I will share those with you. I've got a PowerPoint slide lined up here with the 20 instructions, the 20 directions, and we'll go through that. Before we do that, though, I want to make the case with you of how important step 12 is relative to the rest of our program, okay? I'm not saying that the other 11 steps are not essential to get to step 12, okay? But I do want to make the case in how important step 12 is relative to the rest of our program. And so I'm going to share this with you. And this is something my first sponsor, David, used to talk about with me, and I'll never forget it. And part of my commitment to his legacy is to share this with you. So how important is service? Okay, we're going to do a little math here. So we have 12 steps, okay? 12 steps in all. And step 12 is one of the 12 steps. So 1 out of the 12 steps is step 12, and that's 8.3%. Okay, so it's 8.3% important. Well, hang on a second. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of what's called Dr. Bob's prescription. Dr. Bob's prescription was just Dr. Bob's breakdown of our 12 steps of our program of action in its simplest form. Dr. Bob would say that our program is about trusting God, cleaning house, and helping others. Trust God, clean house, help others. Well, now step 12, helping others, is 1 out of 3 steps. So now, or 1 out of the 3 steps. So it's 33.3%. Okay. But then my sponsor also pointed out Bill W.'s farewell talk, a farewell for his life because he was dying. At the AA General Service Conference in 1971, Bill Wilson said this: "Our 12 steps, when simmered down to the last, resolve themselves into the words love and service. We understand what love is, and we understand what service is. So let's bear those two things in mind." So now Bill Wilson is saying our program, when boiled down to the last, when simmered down to the last, consists of love and service. And by that equation, step 12, being of service and helping others and giving back to others, is 50% of our program. And our book is continually threaded through this ethic of being of service to others and helping others and being useful in Alcoholics Anonymous, giving back, contributing, and really making that final transition, finally, from being takers to being givers, is 50%. 50% of our program, when simmered down to the last, our program consists of love and service. So I would submit to you that step 12 and the immunity that it will ensure from us drinking, step 12 is as valuable as 50% of our entire program. So what I want to say as well is, it says nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking, but I will also tell you that nothing will so much ensure immunity from alcoholism. as intensive work with other alcoholics. And what do I mean by that? I mean, a guy like me, multiple years sober, going crazy about someone or reacting emotionally or having some fit of anger or going into a depression of self-pity and loneliness, all those different facets of alcoholism. Nothing will so much ensure immunity from alcoholism and an alcoholic, untreated alcoholic response and reaction in sobriety as intensive work with other alcoholics. What type of work? Intensive. Intensive work. One of the things our book says is that all of us spend much of our spare time in the type of work we're going to describe. Okay. And the only question there is, how much free time do we have? How much free time does someone have? And the question, the benchmark that I need to ask myself, the litmus test, if you will, that I need to ask myself, am I spending much of my spare time in the type of work that we're talking about here, being of service to others? Okay. So with that said, Brad, let's keep reading, and I'm gonna just share this for a moment. So you'll see here, this is the sponsorship checklist, working with others. This is when we're working with a new person. These are the 20 steps that we're gonna learn about in the next 7 pages, okay? So this chapter goes on significantly after the first 7 pages, but these directions are really in the first 7 pages, page 89 to 96. And as we go through, I'll indicate to you and point out where these directions are, okay? Brad, if you'd be kind enough to start reading for us.
Sure. Perhaps you are not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. They will be only too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. You'll be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you can learn much from them if you wish. But it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim.
Okay, so we just saw first direction number 1. Okay, we're going to go seek these people out, people that need help. We're going to go find them. Okay, and somewhere, along the line, we got this idea as sponsors that, the sponsee needs to come to us and kiss our ring and get down on bended knee and ask for our help. And I always like to say, man, if Bill Wilson would have waited for Dr. Bob to find him, Alcoholics Anonymous would never have happened. Okay. Bill Wilson sought Dr. Bob out because he was about to drink in the Mayflower Hotel. He was restored to sanity and knew he had to go find a newcomer to work with. Okay. So my life depends on working with others. I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with me going and finding someone to go help. Okay. Now, our book says hospitals, medical facilities, churches, religious and spiritual places. That's all fine, but I've got a much easier idea for you. Where is a really good place to find newcomers who need help in Alcoholics Anonymous? How about Alcoholics Anonymous? Okay. At an AA meeting. We're going to go to an AA meeting and we're going to look for people that need help. Okay. And I'm going to tell you how I do that. Okay. How do we do that? It's really easy. Most meetings have a moment at the beginning where we say, is there anyone new here tonight? Anyone new to Alcoholics Anonymous? Please raise your hand. And they raise their hand. Okay. And I submit to you, and I tell my sponsees this all the time, that is the most important part of the meeting. Do not be getting a coffee or looking at my phone or daydreaming when they ask about newcomers. Because when they ask who the newcomers are, my head needs to be on a swivel looking around, finding out who the new people are so I know who I can go talk to after the meeting. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? That's the most important part of the meeting. Okay, if my motive in going to a meeting, which I believe it is to go find someone to help, as opposed to going to the meeting to see what I can take. Okay, another 3-topic discussion meeting where I just go and cathartically dump my little bag of problems on the table like it's some type of free group therapy. I'm taking from AA again. Okay. I need to give back to AA, and giving back to AA, my motive in going to meetings ought to be to go find new people to work with, because that's what will ensure immunity from drinking. Intensive work with other alcoholics. We ask who the new people are. I need to see who they are, be mindful of them, and go talk to them after the meeting. As well, there's a part in our meeting anyway where we give away newcomer tags or newcomer stickers. Raise your hand if there's a part in the meeting where you give away newcomer tags. Okay? That part of the meeting is the most important part for me to go and, again, pay attention to who those people are, then go see if I can help them. It's a great way to find sponsees. All of that aside, another way to find people who need help is to just look for people who look like they might need help. Okay? To look for people who are alone and lost and look sad and rejected and dejected, people who are in pain, people who are in suffering. Look for them. Look for them and go see if we can be helpful to them. Okay? To be helpful is our only aim. Okay? Brad, back to you.
When you discover a prospect for Alcoholics Anonymous, find out all you can about him. If he does not want to stop drinking, don't waste time trying to persuade him. You may spoil a later opportunity. This advice is given for his family also. They should be patient, realizing they are dealing with a sick person. If there's any indication that he wants to stop, have a good talk with the person most interested in him, usually his wife. Get an idea of his behavior, his problems, his background, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. You need this information to put yourself in his place to see how you would like him to approach you if the tables were turned.
Okay,
Sometimes
so we just went through 4 numbers, 2, 3, and 4 here. Okay, and I'll share this with you again. Okay, so we found someone at a hospital, medical facility, or probably at AA, or we can go speak at treatment centers. I went and spoke at Alpha House last Friday. I got 2 new sponsees from going there. Okay, then we're going to find out all we can about him, and I'm going to talk about that again in a minute. Okay, we're going to find out all we can about him. Then we want to find out, does the prospect want to stop? Okay, if no, there's no point in trying to waste time with him. But if there is any indication that he does want to stop, so if the answer is yes, again, see, this is the multiple choice thing. Does he want to stop? If yes, then we're going to find out about his behavior, his problems, his background, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. Okay, and one of the questions that I'll ask guys right away, and it's actually on page 90 here, and we're going to read it in a moment. The question is, do you want to stop drinking for good, and are you willing to go to any extreme to do so? Okay, I'll ask guys that question right out of the gate. Okay, and I want to hear them say yes to that. So when I sponsor people, when I agree to take someone on, there's really 2 directions that I give them right out of the gate. The first one is, okay, here's my phone number. I want you to call me every day for the next 7 days. Okay. If you miss a day, we start over. If that happens twice, I will help you find another sponsor. Agreed? They're like, okay, okay. And then the other thing is, another action I'll have them start taking immediately is to start praying. And notice we haven't gone to step 2 yet. I'm not interested if they believe in God or not. What I'm interested in them doing is taking the direction of prayer. Okay. Praying every morning and praying every night. Alcoholics Anonymous is a place where we pray whether we believe in God or not. Okay. We pray, and I've learned that I can pray my way into faith. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to start praying every morning. And very simply, in the morning, you're going to ask for help. At night, you're going to say thank you. Okay. In the morning, help. At night, thank you. It's that simple. God, help me stay sober. At night, God, thank you for my sobriety. Now they may say, "Oh yeah, and I'm a member of religious devotion, so I do a bunch of stuff in the morning already, and I do a bunch of stuff in the evening already, so I'm good." What I would say to that is that's awesome, but in addition to that, I want you to ask for help in the morning. God, help me stay sober, and at night, I want you to say, "Thank you, God, for my sobriety." Okay. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take that direction? Yes. Okay. Um, Before I forget, I'm going to share with you something that I got from my sponsor, Alan, in terms of sponsorship and how what is the kind of the goalpost that we judge a sponsee by, how well they're doing, and whether or not we're going to continue to work with them if they're struggling. So first of all, I'll tell you as well, um, if a sponsee of mine uh, drinks once, depending on the circumstances, I will keep working with him. If he drinks twice, once I've been his sponsor, then I will help him find another sponsor. Because I think at that point, it's probably, if I'm still hanging on, I think it's just my ego getting in the way of him having a spiritual awakening that's going to get him sober. So I'll try to outline that right early on. Okay. That if that happens, if you drink twice since I'm sponsoring you, so there's no misunderstandings or hurt feelings. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I understand totally. But one of the things that my sponsor, Alan, that I've picked up on from him, and so I've kind of codified it into these three things. The three things when I'm working with a newcomer or working with a sponsee, these are the three questions that I ask, and I want to identify how are these guys doing against this kind of baseline. Okay. The first one is are they taking direction? Okay. So if I give them direction, like pray in the morning and pray at night, are they taking that direction? Okay. The second is are they helping people? Are they helping people in AA? Are they trying to help someone? Are they being of value? Are they being a use in their home group? Are they trying to be useful and helpful in AA? Are they helping people? And then the last one simply is, are they trying? Are they trying? Do I get the sense that they're trying? Clancy once described a winner in Alcoholics Anonymous as someone who is currently trying. Okay. So I may have a sponsee who is not taking direction, but if I look and they may not even be that helpful, but are they trying? Do I get the sense that they're trying to take direction, that they're trying to be helpful? In my estimation, if any one of those things is true, if they're taking direction, if they're being helpful in AA, and if they're trying, if any one of those things is true, I will continue breaking my neck to help them every little bit that I can. Okay. If they're not taking direction and they're not helping and they're not trying, I'm probably not going to spend a lot more time with them. Okay. And I will help them to find another sponsor because it's not going to work out with me. It's just the relationship is not going to work out. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay. So in terms of we're going to find out all we can about this guy. And so one of the things that I want to share with you, and this is usually on the second day. About the second day a guy calls, I'm going to do with him what I call my biography phone call with him. Okay. And I have a series of very simple questions that I want to ask for him, similar to what we just talked about. We're going to find out about his background, his behavior, his problems, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. And so I'm going to share with you, and I've learned in my experience, these are all questions that I need to know and I want to find out up front. It's best to know these things up front, and I'll share these with you, and then I'll show you what I do, because it makes things a lot easier. So, and also, Rob, I'll say I don't think that I've shared these with at this group before. So, if I haven't, please capture these and dump them into the chat for next time we go around. Okay, so simple questions. When were you born? What is your sobriety date? That's a key thing for them to know. Okay. Uh, Rule number one of the main rules. I have to have a sobriety date in Alcoholics Anonymous. So what's my sobriety date? Okay. And it also, if I ask that question up front, it underscores to them the importance of having a sobriety date. Okay. So when were you born? What's your sobriety date? Where were you born? Tell me about mom and dad. Are they still together? Are they still with us? Tell me about your brothers and sisters. Are you in contact with them at all? Are you married? Have you ever been married? Do you have any kids? How many? Are you in touch with them? Tell me about education. Did you finish high school? Do you have any university? Tell me about your job or career. How do you typically make a living? Have you ever been to jail? And do you have any pending criminal charges? It's very important for us to know that. Have you ever had any mental health diagnosis? Very important for us to know that. Tell me about your drinking habits. Were you a daily or binge drinker? What drugs do you use? And then I want to know, how many times have you been to AA or treatment in the past? Have you ever had a sponsor before? Have you ever done the steps before? And then lastly, just like the indication in our book, what's your religious background? Were you raised in a church? What I'm really trying to ascertain there is, do they have any prejudice or resentment towards God? Okay, and the idea of God. It's very important to know all of these things up front. And I think that um, that it's important to build this relationship up front and to give them some time and let them know that I care and find out about their background and who they are. Okay. And it also, our book, because it's a direction in our book, we need this information to put ourselves in his place to see how we would like to be approached if the tables were turned. And I think that structure, if we're trying to implement structure with someone, but we don't have a relationship with them, we're just dictating, barking orders at them. To try and initiate structure without any relationship is going to lead to rebellion. Okay. But I think if we have an understanding relationship with them and we understand where they're coming from, and we give them, time to talk about themselves a little bit, it's going to lend a lot to my ability to implement structure with them, and for them to take direction and for them to start to gain respect for the principle of sponsorship. Okay. And I think that it's absolutely key that we instill in our sponsees a sense of respect for Alcoholics Anonymous, a sense of respect for a home group, and a sense of respect for the principle of sponsorship. Okay. Principles are more important than personalities. The personality that is sponsoring us is not as important, I do not believe, as the principle of sponsorship in and of itself. Okay. So that's what I do. We go through those questions. And then, because technology is what it is today, here's exactly what I do. I'll do that on a phone call with a guy. I can record the phone call. I ask their permission. They give it to me. I record the phone call on my iPhone. And then my iPhone will transcribe the notes of the call right from that audio. So then I have it written down in a note, and I will take those notes and save them under the notes on the person's name in my phone. So I can go back and reference their notes anytime and go back and look at, like, oh yeah, that's right. Their mom, whatever it was, or, oh no, they didn't. Yeah, they never finished high school, or whatever it is. Okay. I've got those notes locked in my phone, and I do that for all my sponsees. Okay. So that's just some things I wanted to share with y'all. Okay, Brad, back to you. Let's keep going, please.
Sometimes it is wise to wait till he goes on a binge. The family may object to this, but unless he is in a dangerous physical condition, it is better to risk it. Don't deal with him when he is very drunk unless he is ugly and the family needs your help. Wait for the end of the spree, or at least for a lucid interval. Then
Okay,
let
so
his fam
that's it. We're gonna wait for a lucid interval. Okay, we do not talk to drinking drunks. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. We do not talk to drinking drunks. Okay, the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous is a privilege. Okay, and the minimum requirement that I need to have the luxury of being around the fellowship of AA is I have to at least be attempting to get sober. Okay. We don't talk to drinking drunks. It's of no use to them. It's of no use to us. Okay. I believe that strongly. Back to you, Brad. That's number 5, by the way. Number 5, we wait for a lucid interval. We don't talk to them while they're still drinking. We wait for a lucid interval. Okay.
Then let his family or a friend ask him if he wants to quit for good and if he would go to any extreme to do so.
That's
If he
number
says
6.
yes,
That's number 6. And we don't have their family ask it. I ask it. I ask it. Do you want to quit drinking for good? And are you willing to go to any extreme to do so? If I get any sense of humming and hawing on that question, no, sir. No, sir. I want guys who are desperate. Raise your hand if you're ready to quit drinking for good and you're willing to go to any extreme to do so. Okay? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, let's keep going.
if he says yes, then his attention should be drawn to you as a person who has recovered. You should be described to him as one of a fellowship who, as part of their own recovery, try to help others and who will be glad to talk to him if he cares to see you. If he does not want to see you, never force yourself upon him. Neither should the family hysterically plead with him to do anything, nor should they tell him much about you. They should wait for the end of his next drinking bout. You might place this book where he can see it in the interval. There's no specific rule here, no specific rule can be given. The family must decide these things, but urge them not to be over anxious, for that might spoil matters. Usually, the family should not try to tell your story. When possible, avoid meeting a man through his family. Approach through a doctor or an institution is a better bet. If your man needs hospitalization, he should have it, but not forcibly unless he is violent. Let the doctor, if he will, tell him he has something in the way of a solution. When your man is better, the doctor.
Sorry, Brad, continue, please. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. When your man is better, the doctor might suggest a visit from you. Though you have talked with the family, leave them out of the first discussion. Under these conditions, your prospect will see he is under no pressure. He will feel he can deal with you without being nagged by his family. Call on him while he is still jittery. He may be more receptive when depressed. See your man alone, if possible.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to
First,
point out here. Okay, so we asked them, do you want to quit for good? Or are you willing to go to any extreme to do so? The next direction is to explain to them that I am a person who has recovered from this disease. And then we introduce them to this book. Okay. And from there, they may still be hospitalized, or they may still be in detox or whatever. But we can still work with them. And by the way, one of the things too, guys, is I sponsor a lot of guys who are either in detox or in treatment centers. There is a 100% chance, if you are sponsoring people in AA in Calgary, you are going to sponsor people who are in a treatment center. I see your hand, Shiva. Just 1 second. You're going to sponsor people who are in a treatment center. My feeling on that is that my job as their sponsor is to just help them get through treatment with an understanding that they're going to do a treatment center set of steps. And when they get out of treatment, that we're going to do another set of steps after that and get them to agree to that up front. But getting through treatment in and of itself is not hard. And there's a lot that we can do to support them while they're going through treatment. Shiva, you had a question?
Yes, Shiva, I'll call it. Sorry, Kevin, I just need to go back a little bit. On page 90, the paragraph that starts with, if there is any indication, the last sentence, it says that you need this information to put yourself in his place. Would you please explain that? That is where my prospects are running away. You need this
To
information.
understand, to put yourself in his shoes, Shiva, to see things from his perspective. Okay, we need to look at his background and think to myself, hey, if I was a guy, okay, who who never knew his parents when he grew up, and had had been to jail like a bunch of times, and um, didn't finish high school, and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. We want to think about
Mhm.
that. One of the things that I've learned about Clancy, who, and say what you will, but I believe that Clancy is probably one of the most successful sponsors in the history of the world. Clancy did not believe that there was a one size fits all model for sponsorship. Okay. So, although we're giving guidelines here, different sponsees need to be treated in different ways. And one of the ways I've heard it explained is like depressives or aggressives. Okay. So, one of the things we can ask is the person that we're dealing with, are they a depressive who needs to be lifted up, or an aggressive who needs to be mellowed out to some degree? You know what I mean? And we'll learn about all that and how we would like to be approached if the tables were turned, just by knowing all these things from someone's background. Okay. If I do
Thank
get
you.
a guy who's like, oh, yeah, my parents were this and that, and I'm the oldest of a bunch of kids, and I got PhDs in school, and I was raised independently wealthy. And yeah, I've been to treatment a bunch of times, and on and on and on. That's going to inform how I'm going to deal with them differently than someone who was raised and abused in foster homes, who been broken in and out of jails, who has physical mental illnesses, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense, Shiva? All right. But if
Thank you
we
so
don't know,
much.
we don't know, right? It's important to know. Okay, Brad, back to you.
See your man alone if possible, and first engage in general conversation. After a while, turn the talk to some phase of drinking. Tell him enough about your drinking habits, symptoms, and experiences to encourage him to speak of himself. And if he wishes to talk, let him do so. You will thus get a better idea of how you ought to proceed. If he is not communicative, give him a sketch of your drinking career up to the time you quit, but say nothing for the moment of how that was accomplished. If he is in a serious mood, dwell on the troubles liquor has caused you, being careful not to moralize or lecture. If his mood is light, tell him humorous stories of your escapades. Get him to tell some of his. When he sees you know all about the drinking game, commence to describe yourself as an alcoholic. Tell him how baffled you were, how you finally learned that you were sick. Give him an account of the struggles you made to stop. Show him the mental twist which leads to the first drink of a spree. We suggest you do this as we have done it in the chapter on alcoholism. If he is alcoholic, he will understand you at once. He will match your mental inconsistencies with some of his own.
Okay, so in the
If
previous
you're
paragraph, we talked about that general conversation we're having. It's important to remember I'm not talking to him about his drinking. I'm talking to him about my drinking. Okay. And that's how we gain the confidence and the understanding, and we start to speak the language of the heart to another alcoholic. And this is also how we turn the very worst things I've ever done in my life to good account when I'm helping someone else. Okay. Then, where it says on the top of page 92, show them the mental twist which leads to the first drink of a spree, and so on and so forth. How we do that, and how I do it with my sponsees, is by going through that cycle, the alcoholic cycle, which is like the cornerstone foundation of this big book study. That's what we do. And now I'm making that transition from being a taker to a giver. Now it's not about my 5 stories in the cycle. Now I'm sitting down with another man and taking him through his 5 stories in the cycle. But what's one of the best ways for me to teach that cycle to him is by giving him a story of my own that matches that cycle. Okay? So that's how we're going to do it with him. And that's point number 9. Tell them I'm an alcoholic, how I tried to stop, mental obsession, and so on.
If you're satisfied that he is a real alcoholic, begin to dwell on the hopeless feature of the malady. Show him from your own experience how the queer mental condition surrounding that first drink prevents normal functioning of the willpower. Don't at this stage refer to this book unless he has seen it and wishes to discuss it, and be careful not to brand him as an alcoholic. Let him draw his own conclusion. If he sticks to the idea that he can still control his drinking, tell him that possibly he can, if he is not too alcoholic. But insist that if he is severely afflicted, there may be little chance he can recover by himself. Continue to speak of alcoholism as an illness. a fatal malady. Talk about the conditions of body and mind which accompany it. Keep his attention focused mainly on your personal experience. Explain that many are doomed who never realize their predicament. Doctors are rightly loath to tell alcoholic patients the whole story unless it will serve some good purpose. But you may talk to him about the hopelessness of alcoholism because you offer a solution. You will soon have your friend admitting he has many, if not all, of the traits of the alcoholic. If his own doctor is willing to tell him that he is alcoholic, so much the better. Even though your protege may not have entirely admitted his condition, he has become very curious to know how you got well. Let him ask you that question. If he will, or let him ask you that question if he will. Tell him exactly what happened to you.
Okay, so I'm going to stop
this.
there, Brad. So number 11,
Okay.
point number 11 is to continue to talk about the hopelessness of this disease. Okay, we go through the cycle. We talk about more about our own stories. Okay, and then if he is willing to admit that he's an alcoholic, and he wants to know how you got well, how we got well, then we tell him what happened to us. Okay, and this is where we stress the spiritual feature freely. Okay, when people speak in AA, our book says our stories disclose in their general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what it's like today. What it used to be like is pretty self-explanatory. What it's like today is pretty self-explanatory. What happened is almost inexplicable. Okay, but in short, it's the 12 steps. That's what happened. We took some actions and helped others that allowed us to connect to a power that helped us to recover from the necessity to have to drink. Okay, that's what happened to us. Okay, and so that's what we talk about. Okay, they don't have to agree with our conception of God as long as they choose any conception. The main thing is that they be willing to believe in a power greater than themselves and that they live by spiritual principles. Okay, Brad, back to you. When dealing with such a person,
We skipped a little bit, Kevin. Is that all right?
sure it is. Yeah.
Okay. When dealing with such a person, you had better use everyday language to describe spiritual principles. There is no use arousing any prejudice he may have against certain theological terms and conceptions about which he may already be confused. Don't raise such issues, no matter what your own convictions are. Your prospect may belong to a religious denomination. His religious education and training may be far superior to yours. In that case, he is going to wonder how you can add anything to what he already knows. But he'll be curious to learn why his own convictions have not worked and why yours seem to work so well. He may be an example of the truth that faith alone is insufficient. To be vital, faith must be accompanied by self-sacrifice and unselfish constructive action. Let him see that you are not there to instruct him in religion. Admit that he probably knows more about it than you do, but call to his attention the fact that however deep his faith and knowledge, he could not have applied it or he would not drink. Perhaps your story will help him see where he has failed to practice the very precepts he knows so well. We represent no particular faith or denomination. We are dealing only with general principles common to most denominations. Outline the program of action, explaining how you made a self.
Number 13 here. We're outlining now. The next thing we're going to do. We're going to talk about the hopelessness. We're going to tell them number 12 what happened to us and stress the spiritual feature freely. Now number 13, we're going to outline the program of action, which is we're going to go through the steps with them. We're going to talk about the steps.
Outline the program of action, explaining how you made a self-appraisal, how you straightened out your past, and why you are now endeavoring to be helpful to him. It is important for him to realize that your attempt to pass this on to him plays a vital part in your own recovery. Actually, he may be helping you more than you are helping him. Make it plain he is under no obligation to you, that you hope only that he will try to help other alcoholics when he escapes his own difficulties. Suggest how important.
Number 14, they're not obligated to us. Number 15, and I'll ask this to newcomers when I'm asking them when I'm talking to them about sponsorship. Do you agree once we have helped you to overcome your own difficulties, do you agree that you will become a vital member of Primary Purpose Group and give this message and carry this message back to other alcoholics? Okay.
Suggest how important it is that he place the welfare of other people ahead of his own. Make it clear that he is not under pressure, that he needn't see you again if he doesn't want to. You should not be offended if he wants to call it off, for he has helped you more than you have helped him. If your talk has been sane, quiet, and full of human understanding, you have perhaps made a friend. Maybe you have disturbed him about the question of alcoholism. This is all to the good. The more helpless he feels, the better. He will be more likely to follow your suggestions. Your candidate may give reasons why he need not follow all of the program. He may rebel at the thought of a drastic house cleaning, which requires discussion with other people. Do not contradict such views. Tell him you once felt as he does, but you doubt whether you would have made much progress had you not taken action. On your first visit, tell him about the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. If he shows interest, lend him your copy of this book.
And if you have a guy like that, so that's number 16. Tell them how my views changed since I started to do this work. If you have someone who doesn't believe that they need to do certain parts of AA, one of the lines that I love is first comes the action, then comes the understanding. Right? We Clancy used to talk about this. Vaccines, okay? Different vaccines for smallpox or polio. We don't have to know how they work. Most of us don't know how they work. In fact, the vaccines, originally, the medical community, they didn't know how they worked at all. They just know that they did work, and they administered them, and they helped people to survive, okay? So first comes the action, then comes the understanding. Alcoholics Anonymous does not require me to understand it in order for it to work. Alcoholics Anonymous requires me to just take these actions that were being told to me by people I didn't like, actions that I didn't think were going to work, that I didn't want to do. But when I took the actions, my life changed. Okay. First comes the action, then comes the understanding. Brad, back to you. And I think we'll be able to finish up here by 7.
Unless your friend wants to talk further about himself, do not wear out your welcome. Give him a chance to think it over. If you do stay, let him steer the conversation in any direction he likes. Sometimes a new man is anxious to proceed at once, and you may be tempted to let him do so. This is sometimes a mistake. If he has trouble later, he is likely to say you rushed him. You will be most successful with alcoholics if you do not exhibit any passion for crusade or reform. Never talk down to an alcoholic from any moral or spiritual hilltop. Simply lay out the kit of spiritual tools for his inspection. Show him how they worked with you. Offer him friendship and fellowship. Tell him that if he wants to get well, you will do anything to help. If he is not interested in your solution, if he expects you to act only as a banker for his financial difficulties or a nurse for his sprees, you may have to drop him until he changes his mind. This he may do after he gets hurt some more. If he is sincerely interested and wants to see you again, ask him to read this book in the interval. After doing that, he must decide for himself whether he wants to go on. He should not be pushed or prodded by you, his wife, or his friends. If he is to find God, the desire must come from within. If he thinks
so
he can
number
do
17, this number 17, this is at the bottom of page 94. We're going to tell them about the fellowship, and for us, a lot of us are members of Primary Purpose Group. We have an incredibly vibrant fellowship and community of spirit at Primary Purpose Group. And so, yes, we tell them about the fellowship, but I tell guys about PPG, and we have that happen a lot. Okay. It says to lend them a copy of the book. We just get him a copy of the book. Okay. Spend the $20 and buy a newcomer a big book. Okay. I'll spend $20 on a lot worse things than that. You better believe me. Okay. So we get a newcomer a big book. Then to ask them to read the book and decide if they want to go on. Okay. That's where we're at right now. That's number 19. And then the last direction is going to be on the following page.
If he thinks he can do the job in some other way, he should not be pushed or prodded for you by his wife and friends. If he is to find God, the desire must come from within. If he thinks he can do the job in some other way or prefers some other spiritual approach, encourage him to follow his own conscience. We have no monopoly on God. We merely have an approach that worked with us. But point out that we alcoholics have much in common and that you would like, in any case, to be friendly. Let it go at that. Do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. Search out another alcoholic and try again. You are sure to find someone desperate enough to accept with eagerness what you offer. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing a man who cannot or will not work with you. If you leave such a person alone, he may soon become convinced that he cannot recover by himself. To spend too much time on any one situation is to deny some other alcoholic an opportunity to live and be happy. One of our fellowship failed entirely with his first half dozen prospects. He often says that if he had continued to work on them, he might have deprived many others who have since recovered of their chance.
Okay, and what I like to say there, guys, I just want to say I have I don't know if you all know this, but I have a 100% success rate with sponsorship in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know if you knew that. I have a 100% track record, okay? And what I mean by that, and that all the time that I've been sponsoring people, I've stayed sober, okay? That's a 100% success rate. I've stayed sober with all the people that I've worked with, okay? I've had people commit suicide. I've had sponsees drink. I've had sponsees end up in jail. I've also had sponsees absolutely transform their lives and become vital members of Primary Purpose Group, of Alcoholics Anonymous, of their lives, of their homes, of their careers, and be absolutely rocketed into the fourth dimension. And there's, in the Bible, there's the parable of the sower and the seed, right? Farmer's out in the field and he's just scattering seeds in the field, and some of it lands in rocks, and some of it is captured in the thorns, and some of it is stolen by birds, but some of it lands on fertile soil and grows. Okay, and it's not up to us where the seeds land. Okay, it's just our job to keep scattering the seeds. Okay, so our book says, and I hold on to this statement, there are many failures, but there is an occasional heartening success. And I can see right now, I'm looking at heartening successes. I can see heartening successes right from where I'm sitting right now. And it's a beautiful thing. So, Brad, let's finish up the last paragraph here, please.
Suppose now you are making your second visit to a man. He has read this volume and says he is prepared to go through with the 12 steps of the program of recovery. Having had the experience yourself, you can give him much practical advice. Let him know you are available if he wishes to make a decision and tell his story, but do not insist upon it if he prefers to consult someone else.
Okay, that's it, guys. Now we're going through the steps with him. Make a decision. Step 3, tell his story. Steps 4, 5, and now we're away. Now we're taking him through the steps. Okay, I think it is my job as a sponsor, yes, certainly to take them through the 12 steps, but it's my job as a sponsor to keep my sponsees in the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? And when I see them getting away from the fire over in the darkness, man, there really truly is a boogeyman out there. And it's my job. It's my job to keep them away from the wolves out there, man. It's my job to help try and keep them in the middle of AA, help them stay close to the fire, okay? On that note, I'll also say, that I think it's my job as a sponsor to ensure that they have a home group and that they have a commitment at their home group. And I'll also say for myself, I only sponsor men who are members of Primary Purpose Group, because that's where I live. That's my home, and I want them to be a part of my home. I didn't always do that. I used to say, you have to have a home group. It doesn't have to be PPG. But I've since changed my thinking on that. If I'm sponsoring someone, I want them to be a member of Primary Purpose Group. It could be Tuesday night meeting, Saturday night meeting. My hope is they'll come to the main meeting on Wednesday because it's the best, and I love it all. But I think it's important and it's essential for me to make sure that my sponsees have a home group, have a commitment, are being useful, that they're taking direction, and that they're trying, just as I said, okay? Okay, guys, that's it for tonight, and that is it for the fourth dimension big book study cycle one more time. That is it. We will go back to the very beginning. We'll go back to the very beginning next week, man. Very beginning next week, right back to the prefaces and the forewords and right to the early history of AA, all that good stuff. I love it, man. So we're going to close the meeting now. We'll close with the Lord's Prayer as we always do. And please don't run away because we will, we're going to go around the room and just say a quick hello to everyone. And again, the custom here is to tell us your name, where you're from, what city you're from, and what your home group is. Okay, so let's close with the Lord's Prayer, though. Our Father, who
Our
art in
Father,
heaven,
who art in
hallowed be thy
heaven,
name.
hallowed be thy
Thy
name. Thy
kingdom come,
kingdom come,
thy
thy
will
will
be
be
Thy will
done
done
be
on
done
earth
on
as
earth
it is
as
in
it
on
is
earth
in
as it
heaven.
is in
Give us
heaven.
this
Give us
day
this
our
This day
day
our
our
daily bread.
daily
daily bread,
bread,
Our
and
and forgive
forgive
us
us
our
trespasses,
our
trespasses,
forgive
trespasses
us
as
as
we
those
we
who
forgive
forgive
those
those
trespass
who
who
against us.
trespass
trespass
against
against
us.
us.
Lead us not
Lead
into
us
And lead
not
us
temptation,
not
into
into
temptation,
temptation,
deliver
but
us from
deliver us
but
evil.
from
deliver us
evil.
from
Thine
evil.
is the
For
kingdom,
thine
the
is the
power,
kingdom,
and
the
the
power,
glory
and the
forever
glory
and ever.
forever.
Forever and
Amen.
ever.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Okay, let's go around the room real quick. Let's start with Michael Rivard. How nice to see you.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm great.
My sobriety date is Father's Day, 1992, June 26,
Awesome. And where are you from, Michael?
Windsor, Ontario, but I live here in Calgary.
And what's your home group?
Right now, my home group is the Garnet Block.
All right, man. That's great. I got a lot of love for the G block, man. A lot of love for the G block. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's
But
wonderful
I
to see.
love coming Saturday nights and Wednesdays. I do.
I know you do. I know you are a loving ally of Primary Purpose Group. So we
Thank
love
you.
you for it, man. We love you for it. Okay, that's wonderful. Let's go to Mitch.
Mitch, alcoholic.
Hi, Mitch.
Sober date is February 13th, 2013.
And where are you from?
Calgary,
And what's your home group?
PBG.
PPG. All
Not
right,
yet. I haven't signed the papers yet, but
that's okay. We got the candlelight ceremony is later next month, so that's okay. I'm kidding. Mitch, all you need to do, all anybody needs to do to join Primary Purpose Group, you know what you need to do to join PPG? You have to get a job at PPG. That's it. Our group conscience decided that's it. We're keeping it simple. If you have a job at PPG, you are a member of PPG. That's how it works. So anyway, we like it. We love it. Let's go to Caleb T.
Caleb, grateful recovered alcoholic and addict from Atlanta, Georgia. Home group is Saturday Night Fever and Dynamic Recovery Group.
Beautiful, Caleb. Glad to see you, man.
You too, always.
Wonderful. Let's go to Kenneth Shank.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Shank. I'm an alcoholic, and my sobriety date is January 11th, 2025, and my home group is PPG.
PPG. Love it, buddy. Good to see you, Ken.
You
Glad
too.
to have you back on the study, Ken. Glad to have you
Thank
here.
you.
I want you to know that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
I'm really glad to have you here.
Me
All
too.
right. Let's go to Nathan.
Hi, my name's Nathan. I'm an alcoholic. Sobriety date is January 29th, 2025, and my home group is PPG.
PPG. All right. Good stuff. Let's go to Victor. Oh, for whatever reason, Victor, your audio is kind of glitchy.
Okay, I guess I'll have to introduce myself again next week. I'm in on a room from this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Victor. Yeah, the audio is just not cutting on real good. Victor, we're going to come back to you, okay? Thanks, buddy. Let's go to Andrew C.